a unique opportunity for anime and manga fans. If you're a One Piece fan, I'm sure you'd love to draw your favorite characters. Now you can get 2 amazing books for free. The first book will teach you drawing techniques, and the second one will show you how to create art directly on your phone without even needing to draw. You'll be able to create stunning virtual artwork just like the one on your screen right now. Both books are completely free if you act fast and click the link in the description. Don't waste time. This is a one-of-a-kind opportunity. Hey there, pirates. Welcome aboard the Anime No Mi channel. What if Ace had eaten the sun god fruit instead of Luffy? This question takes us down an entirely different path in the story of One Piece, altering key events and the destinies of many characters. To imagine this scenario, we need to reimagine the events from the beginning, following the arcs chronologically and considering how each character would be affected by this change. Perhaps Ace, upon consuming what he initially believed to be the Gomu no Mi, would have had a similar start to Luffy's, but the results would be drastically different. After all, the power of the sun god, associated with Nika, carries not only immense combat potential, but also a responsibility that would shape the course of his journey and everyone around. I hope for your support to help our crew win, and to do so, you just need to click the thumbs up button, leave a like, and subscribe to the channel. By doing this, you will win an incredible devil fruit, so just comment which fruit you want. When Ace ate what he thought was the Gomu no Mi, he wouldn't immediately understand the true power behind the fruit. Initially, he would experience the rubber body and, like Luffy, would likely learn to use it creatively. Ace, wielding the powers of the legendary fruit, might have made different decisions during his journey as a pirate. Instead of heading straight to the New World and joining Whitebeard, perhaps he would have spent more time building his name and crew. His confrontation with Whitebeard might have been more intense, given that having the fruit's power from childhood could give Ace even greater confidence to face the Yonko. Eventually, however, it's likely he would still lose and perhaps find a father figure in Whitebeard, deciding to join his crew. Yet, his rise among the Whitebeard pirates would be meteoric due to the legendary power he carried. Meanwhile, Luffy, without the Gomu no Mi, would still leave his village to become the Pirate King. However, he would have to rely solely on his physical strength, determination, and perhaps even learn to use haki earlier. Without the fruit's powers, he would need to face the initial challenges of his journey differently. In the initial arcs, without the Gomu no Mi powers, his journey would start much more challenging. Luffy, without his elastic abilities, would rely solely on his physical strength, honed by Garp and his unwavering determination. Ace, on the other hand, upon consuming the fruit that Shanks had brought, would gain the ability to stretch his body, though, unlike the Mira no Mi. This power carried the weight of mythology and destiny, even if he didn't realize it at first. His role as Roger's son would take on even greater importance, as he would literally become a messianic figure. Without the Gomu no Mi powers, Luffy's early battles, such as against Alvida and other initial adversaries, would have been more difficult, but not impossible. Luffy would still gather his crew with the same charisma as always, but fights like those against Buggy and Arlong would be much tougher. He might need to rely more on strategy and teamwork to win. Meanwhile, Ace, already sailing the seas with the rubber fruit powers, would start attracting attention earlier, possibly even crossing paths with powerful enemies before meeting Whitebeard. In this scenario, Ace might become the hero of Alabasta instead of Luffy, acting as an ally to the Straw Hats. With greater fame, he would be seen as a much bigger threat by Baroque Works and Crocodile. Ace's presence could drastically alter the events of this arc. Meanwhile, Luffy, without Ace's support, would have to rely even more on his crew to defeat Crocodile. Luffy might not be able to defeat Crocodile directly. Ace, on the other hand, would arrive in Alabasta as one of the world's most notable pirates, wielding a legendary power as a commander of a Yonko's crew. During this fight, Luffy might be forced to learn the early principles of haki, especially Busoshoku, to compensate for the lack of Gomu no Mi abilities and face a Logia user like Crocodile. He could even learn this skill from Ace, who would surely have learned it from Whitebeard. However, problems would arise later. With Luffy continuing his journey, he might not reach Skypiea as in the original timeline. This could lead to unexpected consequences, such as Teach crossing paths with Luffy before he reaches the sky. Perhaps Teach would attempt to capture Luffy to offer him to the world government, as he considered doing in the original timeline. In this scenario, Luffy and the Straw Hats could be captured. Teach might see him as the perfect bargaining chip to stand out with the world government. This would drastically change Luffy's role in the story, casting him as the prisoner, whose capture would mobilize not just Ace, but also other allied forces. This scenario raises an intriguing question. How would Ace react upon learning that Luffy had been captured? Unlike Marineford, where the rescue was to save Ace, this time Ace would lead the charge to save his younger brother. He would ask for Whitebeard's help, and instead of hesitating, Whitebeard might see this as an opportunity to strike directly at the world government with all his might. This would also create a fascinating contrast. Luffy, always so reckless, would have to trust that fate would save him and his companions. The Marineford battle would be a completely different event. Ace, now better mastering the powers of the Gomu Gomu no Mi and already capable of using haki, would be an overwhelming force on the battlefield. He would use his abilities to carve a path to Luffy, facing admirals and other formidable opponents without fear, just as Luffy did, even though he was weaker than Ace would have been. Whitebeard, witnessing Ace's determination, would fight with all his might to ensure that both he and Luffy survived. And who knows, this coordinated attack might even force the world government to retreat, leaving Marineford with a less tragic outcome than the original. Whitebeard might still lose his life. After all, Akainu's same lie would be used, leading everyone to believe they were all in danger because Ace, the son of Gol D. Roger and Whitebeard's favorite, was risking everyone's lives to save Luffy, who had no connection to them. Because of this, betrayal would occur in the same way. But how would Luffy change after this event? Perhaps he would discover a new level of determination, realizing the sacrifice and effort so many made to save him. He might begin training earlier, seeking ways to compensate for the lack of a devil fruit with haki abilities and new combat techniques. This could also accelerate his growth as a leader and a pirate, leading to a more mature and strategic Luffy in the new world, someone more akin to Gol D. Roger. Whitebeard and Rayleigh would notice this, and for this reason, Rayleigh would agree to train Luffy. Meanwhile, Ace would become an even greater symbol of hope and power in the One Piece world, creating a new era of pirates in honor of Whitebeard. Not only that, but he would also become the new captain of the Whitebeard Pirates, striving to keep the crew united as a family. Luffy, on the other hand, would continue his journey to become the Pirate King, but now with an even closer and more powerful rival. The relationship between the two brothers would become one of the emotional pillars of the series, with Ace acting as a figure of inspiration and challenge for Luffy. In the new world, they might even ally against threats like Kaido and Big Mom, using their respective powers in a complementary way. The unfolding of events in Wano would certainly be as impactful as it was thrilling. Wano had always been important to Ace, as his heart was deeply connected to the legacy of Kozuki Oden, a former member of his crew. He had visited the island before and promised Yamato that he would return to free the country from Kaido's grasp. With Wano's critical situation and the alliance formed by the Straw Hats and the Samurai, Ace would feel compelled to fulfill his promise and help Luffy face the terrifying Emperor. From the moment he arrived in Wano and saw the devastation of the land, his anger and determination to defeat Kaido would grow. He would fight alongside Luffy, but also bear his own responsibility to honor Oden and prove that his fighting spirit was worthy of the legacy the samurai had left behind. When Ace and Luffy finally joined forces to face Kaido, the battle would be of epic proportions. Kaido, with his immense strength and near absolute dominance, would easily defeat Ace and Luffy, perhaps believing he had killed Ace and moving on to Luffy. During the fight, Kaido would mock Ace, questioning his determination and strength. He would remark on how Roger's boy could never defeat him and might even reference Ace's former crew, trying to shake his confidence. The Fruit's awakening would occur in a moment of extreme danger. Perhaps Kaido was about to deliver a fatal blow to Luffy. Ace, overwhelmed with emotion, would finally access the true power of the Sun God. The transformation would be similar to Luffy's fight against Kaido, with Ace's body taking on cartoon-like characteristics and surreal control over the reality around him. However, Ace would still believe all of this was part of his Gomu Gomu no Mi, unaware that he was actually becoming the Sun God for the first time. But what do you think of this what if? Share your thoughts. That was today's content. We hope you liked it and want to share your opinion on the subject. Don't forget to share the video, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care and stay amazing.